Hi, my name is Veronica Love, and I am here to talk to you a little bit about your interview process. I think a lot of people they go and they're interviewing. The job market is really good right now, and you're probably getting lots of interviews. But unfortunately, you're probably not getting a lot of feedback in regards to why you're not going to the next stage. And I understand intimately how that could be very frustrating when you're working with a headhunter or an internal recruiter. Often they don't want to give you a lot of good information in regards to why you're not going to the next stage. So today I am going to give you the top 3 reasons why you're not moving forward in the interview process. And I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback in regards to things you can do so that you have really good interviews and develop really good long-term relationships with internal recruiters and external recruiters. So the first reason why you're not moving forward in the interview process is just what I said. The market is really good. It's not a reflection of your skill set. It's just that they might have found a candidate that was a better fit for what they're looking for. It could be the skill set. So maybe you're someone in finance and you use a financial application, SAP, and they need somebody that has another skill set. Or maybe you're an engineer and they found somebody that has the exact skill set that they're looking for, and so they've moved on with that candidate. So don't be discouraged, because there's a possibility, especially at a larger company, they might have another opportunity for you. Another reason you're probably not getting an interview, especially if you've been doing a lot of interviewing and you're frustrated, it probably is coming across in the interview. So you're on your 10th interview with a different company. You know you have a great skill set, but you haven't moved forward as quickly as you want in the process or found the right role. And it's coming across in the interview. So people tend to do sometimes in interviews is when they've had frustrating experiences and they get on with the recruiter or the hiring manager, you tend to get like a little bit of a negative Nancy, and you don't realize that. And it makes the interviewer feel uncomfortable, and they don't know why they don't want to move forward with you, but they're like, nah, he's not a fit, or he's doesn't have the skill set I'm looking for, or John or Jane had better experience in this area. So when you've had challenging experiences, you have to make sure that you come with the same good energy, realizing that the right role is going to come for you. You're eventually going to get the right role, and stay really positive in the interview. You don't want to talk negative about your past jobs, your past managers, or other recruiters you work with, or other managers you work with. You want to really keep it positive and focus on the good things. Another reason why you might not be moving forward in the interview process just might be that you're not good at interviewing. Sorry to say. Sometimes, especially if you're introverted, being able to read the audience, depending on what your role is, being able to read your audience, being able to provide succinct responses to them to answer the questions. I can't tell you as a recruiter how many times I've been on a conversation with someone and I ask them one question, and like 7 minutes later I'm like, hey, what can I ask a follow-up question, because they have felt uncomfortable or they're just rambling actually. And it's not that I'm not listening, but it's hard to gather all the good information when you aren't able to understand your audience and just offer a very succinct answer. So things you can do. So I've given you some of the reasons. Things you can do is, I love this exercise. I always tell people, especially when either they have lost their jobs and they're interviewing and they're worried about getting another job, or they are have been interviewing a lot and they kind of just like, oh my God, another interview, I don't want to go, is walk into the interview as if you're already working there. So do some research on the company, but in your mind, literally create that you're already an employee, and basically you're just telling somebody about the work you already do. And I think that casualness, not necessarily, you don't want to be unprofessional, but I think that feeling that you're already working there kind of gives you a little bit of ease as you walk into interviews. I used to use the same thing when I would participate in pageants. Yes, I participated in pageants years ago. I would act like I was already the queen. So when I went into the portion of the interview, it was like, hey, they're just going to ask me questions I already know the answers to. So I wasn't nervous in that portion. I think this could be applicable also to when you go in for interviews. Have a conversation, be very aware of the audience, which just leads us into another recommendation. Be aware of the person you're interviewing with. So if the person you're interviewing with is sitting up straight and they're very, serious, then you kind of want to mimic that. Don't overdo it. If they're a little bit more casual and you see them moving forward, it's kind of a section of NLP where you kind of want to do micro movements that mimic what they're doing. It helps people to feel more comfortable with you. So if someone is leaned back in a chair like this, you don't want to necessarily put your feet on the desk, but you might have more of a casual lean when you're interviewing. If someone was sitting up and then they're moving kind of to the right, you might want to just, yeah, if they're moving their heads, then you might want to give a slight move with them. It just helps them to feel more comfortable in the conversation with you. And then the third thing I would just tell you is that I think it's really important that you are aware of the job description. You know who you're talking to. You get as much information as you can before you go in for an interview, and that you actually are succinct in your answers. So if someone asks you, tell me about a general question, tell me about your background in history. You don't want to go back to college if you have 25 years of experience. You want to have a very succinct, like a minute and a half. I started off here, this is what led me to this role, and you want to give them information that is respective of the job that you're interviewing for. So if they ask you about your looking at a CFO role, you want to talk to them about what you've done as a CFO, like how large was the company, what kind of major changes you made, and you want to be succinct in the answer, and then you want to pause and give them the opportunity to respond to you. I hope this helps you as you go and you're interviewing. I know that just keep at it. You have great skills. I know that sometimes you don't get feedback, but it's okay to call and say, hey, I've been interviewing so-and-so. I just wanted to know, do you have any feedback for me? A lot of people will not give you feedback because that's the way their company is set up. But when someone does give you feedback, just be aware and say, okay, is that something I can change? And use it for your next interview. But good luck and happy hunting.